The American Revolution was the result of growing tensions between Great Britain and its 13 American colonies. At the heart of this conflict was the issue of taxation without representation. Following the costly French and Indian War, the British Parliament sought to extract revenue from its colonies through acts like the Stamp Act of 1765 and the Townshend Acts of 1767. These acts were met with fierce resistance from the colonists, who argued that they had no say in the imposition of these taxes. The cry of "no taxation without representation" encapsulated the core grievance of the colonists. This clash of perspectives set the stage for a monumental confrontation. The years leading up to the American Revolution were marked by protests, boycotts, and acts of defiance by the colonists, met with repressive measures by the British government. One of the most iconic events was the Boston Tea Party of 1773. In protest of the Tea Act, colonists disguised as Native Americans dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. The British government responded with the Intolerable Acts, which closed the port of Boston and revoked Massachusetts's charter. These acts only served to inflame the rebellion further. Colonial leaders formed committees of correspondence to coordinate resistance efforts. The First Continental Congress convened in 1774, marking a significant step towards colonial unity. The Declaration of Independence, adopted on July 4, 1776, proclaimed the 13 American colonies as free and independent states. Penned by Thomas Jefferson, it asserted that all men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights. It argued that governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed. The Declaration enumerated grievances against King George III, highlighting oppressive measures. Its adoption marked a turning point, transforming a colonial rebellion into a war for independence. The principles enshrined in the Declaration inspired revolutionaries and reformers worldwide. The signing of the Declaration of Independence ignited open warfare between Great Britain and its 13 American colonies. The war's first battles erupted in Massachusetts at Lexington and Concord in April 1775. Though outnumbered, colonial militias demonstrated their determination and fighting spirit. The Siege of Boston saw colonial forces surround the city, trapping the British garrison. Despite early successes, the Continental Army faced significant challenges, including shortages of supplies and trained soldiers. The British capture of New York in 1776 highlighted the strategic challenges facing the fledgling nation. The year 1777 proved pivotal in the American Revolutionary War, with the Battle of Saratoga marking a significant turning point in the conflict. This battle, fought in the dense forests of upstate New York, would change the course of history. British General John Burgoyne's ambitious campaign aimed to isolate New England from the rest of the colonies. However, his forces faced fierce and unexpected resistance from the determined American troops who were fighting for their independence and freedom. The Battle of Saratoga, fought in two intense stages over several weeks, resulted in a decisive American victory. The first stage saw heavy casualties on both sides, but the second stage culminated in Burgoyne's surrender. This hard-fought victory not only restored American morale, but also demonstrated the viability and resilience of the American cause. It showed the world that the American forces could stand up to the might of the British Empire. Most importantly, the victory at Saratoga convinced France to formally recognize American independence. This recognition was a monumental step, as it led France to enter the war as a crucial ally to the American revolutionaries. The French alliance provided essential financial aid, military reinforcements, and naval support. French ships and soldiers began to arrive, bringing with them much-needed supplies and expertise. French troops and supplies significantly bolstered the American war effort, enhancing their ability to fight and sustain prolonged engagements against the British forces. The entry of France into the conflict transformed it into a global war, drawing in other European powers and tilting the balance of power in favor of the Americans. This international dimension of the war was crucial in ultimately securing American independence. As the war progressed, the British shifted their focus to the southern colonies. The Southern Campaign, marked by brutal guerrilla warfare, tested the resolve of both sides. Under General Charles Cornwallis, the British achieved early successes, capturing Savannah and Charleston. However, they faced fierce resistance from colonial militias and Continental Army units. American commanders like Nathaniel Greene and Daniel Morgan employed guerrilla tactics effectively. The Battle of Cowpens in 1781 demonstrated the effectiveness of American strategies. Though Cornwallis won at Guilford Courthouse, his army emerged battered and depleted. The American strategy of attrition gradually weakened the British, forcing them to abandon plans for a swift victory in the South. The year 1781 witnessed the dramatic climax of the American Revolution at the Battle of Yorktown. General Cornwallis moved his army to Yorktown, Virginia, seeking to establish a fortified naval base. Unaware of the strategic trap, Cornwallis found himself cut off by a combined Franco-American force. General George Washington marched his army south, while the French fleet blockaded the Chesapeake Bay. The siege of Yorktown began in late September 1781, with American and French artillery bombarding British defenses. On October 19, 1781, Cornwallis surrendered, marking the end of major fighting. The victory at Yorktown forced the British government to the negotiating table, paving the way for American independence. The American Revolution was shaped by extraordinary leaders who risked their lives for liberty. General George Washington's leadership inspired his troops and guided them to victory. Thomas Jefferson articulated the ideals of liberty and self-government in the Declaration of Independence. Benjamin Franklin secured crucial foreign alliances, particularly with France. These leaders, along with countless others, left an enduring legacy of liberty and self-government. Their sacrifices paved the way for the creation of a new nation founded on popular sovereignty and individual rights. The principles they championed continue to inspire the world. The American victory at Yorktown in 1781 was a decisive moment that led to the Treaty of Paris, formally recognizing American independence. This victory was the culmination of years of struggle and sacrifice by the American colonies. Signed on September 3, 1783, the treaty marked the birth of a new nation. It was a momentous occasion, celebrated by Americans who had long fought for their freedom and self-determination. Great Britain recognized the independence of the 13 American colonies, a significant shift in the balance of power in the New World. The negotiations were intense and required great diplomacy from both sides. The treaty also saw Great Britain relinquish its claims to territory south of the Great Lakes, a vast and resource-rich area that would become crucial to the new nation's expansion. Additionally, Britain ceded all lands east of the Mississippi River, further solidifying the United States' territorial gains and opening up new opportunities for settlement and growth. The treaty also granted American citizens fishing rights off Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, which were vital for the economic sustenance of many coastal communities. In return, the United States pledged to allow British creditors to collect debts owed by American citizens, ensuring that financial obligations were honored despite the war. Furthermore, the United States agreed to encourage the return of confiscated Loyalist property, aiming to heal some of the divisions caused by the war and promote reconciliation. The treaty secured the United States' place among the nations of the world, establishing it as a sovereign entity capable of engaging in international diplomacy and trade. The ratification of the Constitution in 1788 marked the beginning of a new chapter in American history, laying the foundation for the nation's government and legal system, and setting the stage for its future growth and development. The American Revolution inspired revolutions and reforms across the globe. It was not just a local event, but a catalyst for change that resonated far beyond the borders of the 13 colonies. The ideas and principles that emerged from this revolution had a profound impact on the world stage. Its principles, enshrined in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, continue to shape the world today. These documents articulated the fundamental rights of individuals and the notion that government should be by the people and for the people. They have been referenced and emulated by numerous nations seeking to establish their own democratic systems. The revolution demonstrated that it was possible to overthrow tyrannical rule and establish a government based on the consent of the governed. This was a radical idea at the time, challenging the long-standing monarchies and empires that dominated the world. Revolutionary leaders inspired their followers with the promise of a new order where liberty and justice could prevail. The ideals of liberty, equality, and self-determination ignited revolutions in France, Haiti, and Latin America. These movements were driven by the same desire for freedom and self-governance that fueled the American Revolution. The ripple effect of these ideals can be seen in the numerous uprisings and independence movements that followed. The United States Constitution became a model for emerging democracies around the world. Its framework for a balanced government with checks and balances has been studied and adopted by many nations. The Constitution's emphasis on protecting individual rights and limiting the power of government has had a lasting influence on global governance. Despite its complexities, the American Revolution stands as a testament to the transformative power of ideas. The debates and discussions that took place during this period laid the groundwork for modern democratic thought. Philosophers and political thinkers drew inspiration from the revolution, further spreading its impact. Its principles continue to inspire people worldwide, reminding us that the fight for a more just and equitable world is ongoing. From the civil rights movements in the United States to the pro-democracy protests in various parts of the world, the legacy of the American Revolution lives on. It serves as a powerful reminder that the quest for freedom and justice is a universal and enduring struggle.